and welcome to my vlog, Crafting with Shuttermonkey. I'm Amanda, also known as Shuttermonkey, and I live in Ayrshire in the west coast of Scotland. Today is Tuesday the 30th of March and it's a beautiful, beautiful day out there. It's so nice to see a blue sky. We've had rain for about a week. Oh, it's so nice. Maybe get out in the garden for a wee bit later. Other places that you can find me online are Ravelry. I'm Shuttermonkey Designs over there. And Love Crafts, Shuttermonkey Designs again. And those two platforms are where I sell all my knitting and my crochet patterns. You can find me on Etsy too, again, Shuttermonkey Designs. That's where I sell some handmade items. I am also on Instagram, Wee Shuttermonkey over there. That's the account that I use most on Instagram. That's my personal page there. And you can also find me on Payhip. That's where I upload any extra booklets or handouts. If I'm doing any tutorials and you need extra fabric requirements or anything like that, you'll be able to find those on Payhip. How have you all been since I last vlogged? It's been a month since I last did this. I have put up 2 tutorials since then. I put up the crochet basket tutorials and also published the tea time treat mat, but I'll show you that a wee bit later on. It took me a wee bit longer than I thought it would to get the tea time treat mat published. My husband normally does all my video editing for me, but I'm trying to learn how to do these things myself so I don't have to rely on him to do it all for me. And it's been a wee bit of a learning experience actually, so apologies for that. That's why it took me so long to get that published. It is up on YouTube now, and I hope you guys enjoy making yourselves your own tea time treat mat. And as I said in the tutorial, make some for your friends too, because now that you can invite them round and you can sit out in the garden and you could have a wee afternoon tea, couldn't you? It'd be quite nice. Here in Scotland we're still in lockdown, but the restrictions have been lifted a wee bit. We can have 4 people from 2 households in the garden. We can meet outside, no indoor meetups still. But I think the restrictions are due to be lifted a wee bit on the 5th of April. I've kind of lost track, to be honest, with what's going on. I don't leave the house much. I go out and do the shopping once a week, and that's about it. If I have to go to the post office, I'll nick out for that, but that's it. It's mostly been in the house. Getting a wee bit of cabin fever here actually, going a wee bit stir crazy. Could be doing with getting out and getting a bit more fresh air. Even just a walk along the beach. I grew up in a seaside town, so going for a walk to the beach or even a walk along the harbour, just getting outdoors was pretty normal. Things that you do take for granted, you can't do that now. The beach is actually in the next county to me. I'm in East Ayrshire and the beaches are in South Ayrshire, in North Ayrshire. And the closest beach is probably about 7 or 8 miles away, and you're not supposed to cross county lines and you're not supposed to travel more than 5 miles. So looking forward to just getting to the beach actually and going for a walk. Be really nice. Our restrictions will be eased a little on the 5th of April, but I really can't remember what's happening. I know the hairdressers are opening because everybody's talking about that. That's creating quite a buzz, isn't it? I'll not be going to the hairdressers. I only go to the hairdressers once a year, so I'll wait a couple of months yet, let everybody else get in and get their hair cut, and then I'll go. And then after that, I think the next load of restrictions to be lifted is the 26th of April, and that will be, I think non-essential shops are going to be opening back up, so that'll be quite exciting. Anyway, we got on with the crafting stuff rather than me just jibber-jabbering at you. Let's get on with the knitting section, eh? And as usual, I'm going to start with socks. So the first thing I've got to show you today is a finished item. There we go. Finished pair of socks. These are just a wee shorty pair of socks. These are actually my March socks for the Rainbow Socks Chronicles. They won't count for a prize or anything like that because they're only shorties and you're supposed to do mid-calf socks. But I've enjoyed making these. This sock has what looks like a traditional heel flap and gusset, but it's knit from the toe up. And I wanted to practice doing this again. I want to practice it a few times before I send it out for test knitting. So I just wanted something that was fairly straightforward. I love this yarn. It's by Little Tailoress. It's not got a colour on it, but that's what I've got left after knitting my shorties. I only used 57 grams. And I just wanted a wee bit of texture on here on the instep because I didn't want to compete with the colours in the yarn. I've learnt my lesson with that one. So just a shorty sock, and it's just a little star stitch pattern that's on here. I could have carried it on and put a leg on it, but see, in all honesty, with the nicer weather coming in, I'll probably wear shorty socks more than I'll wear long socks anyway. So I'm quite pleased with that. I don't know if this is something that I'll be releasing as a pattern, but I have enjoyed making these. And as I say, they're my March socks, but they won't count for the Rainbow Chronicles. They're my Rainbow Chronicles socks, but they won't count for the Rainbow Chronicles because I didn't make them mid-calf length, but I've still got a pair of socks for March and I'm really happy with them. Right, next sock. Next sock I've got to show you is one that I'm looking to get test knitted. So it's this one here. And this is my Yellow Brick Road sock. This one is actually a cuff down sock pattern. Traditional heel flap and gusset, and it's got a brickwork pattern along the leg and the instep. And I've carried on, well I started off at the cuff, I've continued the slip stitch pattern. It's in the rib as well and it carries down into the sock. So this is going to be available in 3 sizes. So if you could test knit this in a small, a medium or a large, that would be greatly appreciated. And I'll put a wee link below. There's more details on Ravelry and there's some more photographs on Ravelry too. So if you want a wee look at it, you can pop over to the Ravelry thread and have a look. I've also created a project for it as well, so you can have a wee look there. And there's also details on Ravelry how you can contact me if you would like to test knit this. But I'm going to run this throughout April. So all through the month of April, I'll be test knitting this one, okay? So even if you don't see this to maybe the first week in April, you can still get in touch if you like. As long as you can knit one sock by the end of April, I'm happy with that. Right. The next sock that I'm going to be looking for test knitters for, I've shown you this one before, is this one here, is my Skoosh sock. It goes quite nice in my jumper, doesn't it? The colours. So this is Skoosh, but it's going to be, this is the cuff down Skoosh with the traditional heel flap and gusset. So I'm going to be looking for test knitters for that in the next couple of weeks. So keep a wee eye on Ravelry because I'll start a thread on Ravelry when I'm ready for test knitters. I don't want to run 2 at the one time, so I'll leave a couple of weeks gap between them. It'll probably be the 15th of April. But I'll get a wee thread up there maybe the week before so you can let me know if you're interested. Okay. And I do have the other Skoosh ones. These are the toe-up ones. These will be coming soon too. I'll be needing test knitters for that. Traditional heel flap and gusset, but these ones are different because they're knitted toe-up. Okay? And see, while I'm showing you both of these socks, see the leftover yarn that I've got? Could anybody use that? Because I'm probably not going to use this yarn. So if anybody wants it, just leave me a wee comment below saying drops Fable, and I'll randomly pick someone. I'll do that next week, okay? I'll pick somebody on the 7th of April. And then that way I can get it in the post to you as soon as possible, okay? I'll let you know, you can send me your address. That one I haven't used. I didn't touch that one. So that's a full ball of yarn. But this one has only got 43 grams in it. It's just when I was working the second sock to finish my pattern repeat, I had to unwind a wee bit. So there's only 43 grams in that one. But I can put the 2 wee bits in as well. You might get a pair of shorty socks out of each of them. Because I knitted a full pair out of that with a contrasting heel tone cuff. So you might get shorty socks. Put your own wee contrasting colour in. But let me know if you could use that yarn. Help clear out my room a wee bit. Right. What else have I been working on knit-wise? The only other thing I've been doing, I don't think I showed you this one last time, but this is just a pair of socks for my husband. Skoosh socks, but in a large size, and these are the toe-up version. So I've just got by the heel turn. I wanted to make sure my heel turn works in the large size and all my maths, my sock maths is working out correctly. So I'm just using 2.25mm needles. That's what I use for all of my socks. Well, most of my socks. There's a pair I'm knitting for my daughter. They're in 2.5s actually. But these mostly 225s. And it's this colourway here that I'm using. It's just a regular mosaic colour. The colourway is 05563 if that's something you're interested in. But it's just a plain Skoosh sock in the large size. And as I say, these will fit my husband. And what else? Oh. The only other thing I've been really working on is blankets. Just pop that out of the way. My Hexagon blanket. I think I've got it behind me. Yep, here it is. So this one, it doesn't really matter which way I show you it. This is the March Hexagons. And all these wee hexagons are by, sorry, all these wee mini skeins of yarn were actually dyed by Lee Family Yarns. They're lovely, aren't they? I've still to block this one. I have stitched it, I've sewn it together and I've stitched in all my ends. And each month I will just have the wee 14 hexagons together and then I'll join it onto the previous months. They're here as well. So I'll just show you these two together. I did show you this last time, but I don't think these were together. So that was the January and that's February. And that's February over there. So I'll join my orange ones. I'll join the orange ones onto this side here. And then that's the top of the blanket's finished. And I'm going to start working down the way and back, swirling back round. But these colours are just lovely. And see, just knitting with a wee 10-gram skein and then moving on to something, another colour, it's really nice. As I say, I'll get that orange one joined on. And I can show you that next time. Just going to pop these back behind me again. This is the April colours. So these are the crinkle. These are the 10 mini skeins, the 10-gram mini skeins from Lee Family Yarns for the April colourway. So I'll get 10 hexagons from this. I'll wind them up into little mini cakes and I'll get 10 hexagons from that. And then I'll use 4 of these as well. These are the 20-gram skeins. So I only need half of 4 of these. The first 2 weeks in March I worked in my hexagon blanket and that was quite nice. I just do it in the afternoon. It's my chateau knitting. Me and my daughter watch an episode of Escape to the Chateau when she's on her lunch breaks. So that's quite nice. She comes down for a wee break, gets a lunch and we watch a wee Escape to the Chateau and I sit and go on with a wee hexagon. But after 2 weeks I've got all my hexagons done and then I moved on to my other blanket that I'm working on. I'll show you that in a wee second, okay? But when I wind all these up, I put them into this wee yarn bowl. And it's my, I think it's 275s I'm working on. I'll need to check that, what size I'm using for that blanket. No, it's not, it's 375 mils. And they're a wee bit longer, those DPNs, so I don't even have a DPN cosy that fits them. Should really make myself one, shouldn't I? But these, once I wind up the wee cakes, they live in this wee yarn bowl here. It's actually made using macrame. It's the stuff that you use for to make macrame things. And I just wrapped a wee bit of Liberty around every now and again. It was just a wee experiment, but it worked quite well. And it's nice for putting my wee mini skeins in once they're wound up. For the first 2 weeks of the month, I was working on my hexagon blanket. But then when I ran out of hexagons to knit for March, I then moved on to my rainbow northeasterly blanket. Now, the last time I showed you this, I didn't have a strip completed. And now I've nearly got 3 done. Look how she's looking. So this is the edge here, this is strip number 1. And they gradually just move up. And I'll change the number of roses that's in this blue one here. I'll gradually increase up to the centre. But there we go. So I'm quite pleased with that. I won't get the full 3rd strip done by the end of March because there's quite a lot. I had to finish this one. I only had part of this one done and this one was only at the purple. So I finished those 2 strips and I've got that done in the 3rd one. But that's my plan for the rest of the year. The first 2 weeks of the month I think I'll work on my hexagons and then the second 2 weeks I'll work on this one. But it's been really nice to work on this again because I don't think I've worked on it since before Christmas. So I'm going to move on to pink today. So when I finish videoing here, I'll go and watch Escape to the Chateau with my daughter and I'll start that pink bit. But it's been really nice working on this as well. I'm all changed about and I am ready to move on to the crochet section. So here's the first thing that I've finished. I suppose this isn't really a crochet finish because I already had this crocheted the last time I spoke to you. And I made it into a cover. Just using my notebook cover tutorial. But I didn't use any wadding in this one. I suppose this really is a patchwork thing, isn't it? No, really, it's no patchwork either, is it? But what I did, I'm trying to turn it inside out so I can let you see. I've quilted it up. I can't really turn it inside out because I've sewn down the centre seam as well. But see in here you can see I just layered this crocheted piece up with a piece of fabric, pink fabric, because in case it's shone through my wee holes, and I quilted it. And I didn't draw quilting lines, I just eyeballed it, which is something that I never ever do because I can't sew in a straight line. And then it's just got a lining piece after that, folded over just as in the tutorial. And then I cut all the ends off. I have stitched it and zigzagged it to within an inch of its life. You can see all the zigzagging in here. I did do a lot of zigzag stitches on it, so once I trimmed the crocheted edges off that I didn't need, I just wanted to reduce the bulk and I wanted rid of all the points that was along it. So hopefully it won't unravel. Anyway, that's it finished. And it's just a wee bit of lining put together in the same way as I did with my other notebook covers. So there we go. And that was that. I'm quite happy with that. I'm actually going to look through and find all my crochet whips that I've got lying about. And I think I'm going to start keeping a wee note of them in here so I know exactly what I've got. What I should be working on, what I need to get finished off. That'll come in handy for that. Really pleased with that. I'll put more details on Ravelry about how I made this and link to, well, the tutorial's there on YouTube, but I'll put more details of the pattern onto Ravelry. So if you're interested in making this, you can go follow the tutorial there. But it was a free pattern by Very Pink. Is it the Granny Ripple, I think it's called? But it was quite fun to make, and I used all the leftovers from my free sock patterns that I produced last year. So it was quite nice to use a wee bit of the yarn from each of them as well. Just use up all those leftovers. And the other thing that I've been working on is my Toft Advent dolly. She's not finished. I was hoping to have her finished by now, but look. I've got my hand right up her dress. That's not very nice, is it? Should maybe hold her around the waist. There we go. But she's got her wee boots on, and her wee boots have got wee jewels on them. I need to find a way to block her dress. Normally when I make Toft clothes, the dress part or the skirt part, I would put them over, do you know those polystyrene cones that you get? You can make Christmas decorations, anything, things like that with them. I normally would block the garments over one of those, but this one was actually crocheted in place. So the skirt's attached to the body. It doesn't come off. So I'll need to get a wee bit creative and have a block it, because she's supposed to have wee gemstones coming around her dress as well, but they're not on yet because I need to block this first. And she's got a cape, see her cape? With wee gemstones along the back. In the back of her dress and there. She's lovely, isn't she? But I'm working on her hair just now, and I decided to give her curly hair, so it takes a wee bit of time. I think that was 2 hours. I just sit for an hour in the afternoon and do a wee bit of crochet on my dolly. But I've got 4 rows of hair on there, curly hair. So 2 rows is taking me about 2 hours. And every second row, I'm increasing the stitch count and the length of these wee bits of hair. Love how her hair springs up. I wish I had curly hair like that. God, it's gorgeous, isn't it? Get boring straight hair. Anyway, she'll not be long and I'll have her finished. She just needs her wee jewels on. The wee jewels on the bottom of her dress. And she needs a crown, but I'm not going to make her crown until I've finished her hair, because I don't know how big her hair will be. And depending on how far her hair sits out with all those beautiful curls, she might need a slightly bigger crown than the pattern says. So I'm going to wait and make her crown till once her hair's finished. Oh, I just love her hair. I love her hair. But she's going to be lovely. And she was quite a lot of work. I actually found that working on the clothes while they're on the body was quite difficult, because I hold my crochet hook like this, like a pencil. But I found that I had to hold it like that, and I don't find that a comfortable way to crochet. So as you're crocheting around the body like this, I couldn't get in close enough to the body holding it like that. I know that probably doesn't make sense, but it was hard going sometimes. But see, every day you'd be like, oh, that was quite hard going. But then you'd stand her up on the unit and on the sideboard in my living room, and I was like, oh, she's lovely. So she's nearly done. She'll be finished for the next time I vlog. She'll have a full head of hair. There was a few wee changes I made to her. I did make her top a wee bit longer. Her top's a wee bit longer and her top's a wee bit wider. I had to increase the stitch count because she's a wee bit, I'm trying to think of the PC way to say this. She's a wee bit more plump round the middle than normal Toft dollies, because I tend to overstuff my dollies. She's a wee bit like me, overstuffed round the middle. And her arms are shorter as well. I always make my arms 9 rounds shorter than the Toft patterns. There's usually big chunks on the arms where you'll maybe do like 10 rounds. Just, you don't increase the stitch counts or anything. You don't change the shaping. And when you come to big chunks like that, I take 3 rounds out, and the same with the next bit, another 3 rounds out, then another 3 rounds at the next bit. I hope that makes sense. It's just, they're 9 rounds shorter. I feel that if you make the arms the 9 rounds longer, the arms come to maybe a bit down here, the hands are down here, and I feel like it's too long. I know they're dollies, but I want my arms to be roughly where a person's arms would be on them. And that's the only changes I think I made to it. But that's her. She's looking lovely, isn't she? Is that hair? I love curly hair. Anyway, and the only other thing that I've been working on is these little Toft hexagons. I've been piling, I've been crocheting away just whenever I've got spare time and I don't need to think about it. These are quite easy to make. Toft had actually published a blanket pattern. See if I can show you this here without... You come here, come back here, there we go. Can you see that blanket pattern there? It's just multicoloured hexagons, they're all monochrome actually, but I'm going to put a bit of pink in mine. But I don't think I'm going to... Oh, there's a wee bit of it on the back as well. I don't think I'm going to make a blanket because I've got enough blankets just now. The latest, this is Toft. It's a Toft Quarterly magazine that you can subscribe to. And the latest one that came out has, it's crochet squares, and they've made it into a cardigan, and it's lovely. Really, really like it. So it got me thinking that I had all this to make the blanket. I've been stashing this yarn when I've been finding Toft coming up in destashes and stuff. I've been buying the pinks and the greys. And I thought, well, see, rather than making a blanket, maybe you could put these all together and make a cardigan. So I don't know how it's going to work. I would probably need to draw out a plan and how I'm going to lay it out and where I want the sleeves to be, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. But it's quite nice just working in these. I think I can get 7 hexagons from a 50-gram ball. So I'll just keep going with them, and I'll worry about cardigan shaping once I've got plenty of hexagons and I can lay them out and see where they're going to go. But what am I using for that one? That's for my dolly, I think. I've got all this in one of these wee baskets that I picked up in Aldi's. They're quite cute, aren't they? I've got my rainbow blanket in one too. They're just really, really handy for keeping everything all together, aren't they? So I've got my hexagons in this one, and I've got my rainbow blanket in that one. I'm always very, very organised. I make all these bags and then I stick a whip in them and put the whip in the cupboard and never see the bag again. Everything's always stashed away beautifully. I just need to work my way through it all. Anyway, I'll maybe show you them again if I start laying them out and deciding what I'm going to do with them. But you might not see that for a wee while because I'm not going to bore you every time with the same stuff. Unless it's socks. I bore you about that plenty, don't I? One thing I didn't say, see when I made my notebook cover, I didn't put any ribbons in this one. And I didn't put anything in the back for holding stitch markers. There's wee holes in the yarn because it's a granny ripple. So you could clip something onto the... If you're desperate, you can clip a wee stitch marker onto your knitting, can't you? And leave it hanging in there. And the other thing is as well, I've got loads of these wee bookmarks, I've got loads of these wee paper clips that you can buy. And I thought, I've got loads of these, I don't really need ribbons in this one, so I didn't get any ribbons when I was making it. But that'll be okay like that. Right, anyway, ready to move on to the patchwork and quilting section. Right, so as I said already, the Tea Time Treat Mat has been published. Showed you this last time. And I made another 3. So this is the same as the first one with the Dresden on it. I really like making Dresdens. I really, really like making Dresdens actually. And this was the Little Red Riding Hood one, and I showed you that last time. It was all cut up and ready to go. And just a wee reminder, it is a 12 blade Dresden ruler. It's the 12 wedge one. And see, to make circles, I actually use this little Dresden centre as well. These come free every now and again on the front of Patchwork and Quilting magazines. So if you see one on a Patchwork and Quilting magazine and you want to try making Dresdens, it's worth buying the magazine just to get the free rulers, because they can be quite hard to draw out and get accurately cut from paper. Right, anyway, that was those two. Love that one. Just love that fabric. So I do. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And then the third one, I tried something a wee bit different. It's a wee English paper pieced flower that's on it. And it was just 1 inch hexagon papers. Now see if you don't, I did put templates into the pattern, not in the pattern, sorry. I did put templates into the wee booklet that you can download in PayHip. But you can download these quite easily yourself online. 1 inch hexagons. The 1 inch refers to the size along here, okay? And then it was a template for the fabric. But you don't have to have a proper hexagon. Just use that and cut your fabric a wee bit bigger if you want. But that was how I made that one. And see my wee otter there, I don't know if you noticed on the video, my wee otter is actually 2 scraps of fabric. I wanted a wee otter here in the middle, but I never had an otter. I had 2 heads and 1 body, I think. So if you notice on the video, the tutorial, there's a wee line across the middle here. And that's because I've stitched 2 bits of otter together. So this is Franken otter. But I really, really wanted a wee otter for there, and I didn't have one, so I had to make one. I had to get a wee bit creative with 2 different scraps. But you'll see it on the video. If you watch the tutorial, you'll see there's a line across the middle, and that's why. And then there was this one, and this is the easy peasy one. So see if you're quite new to patchwork and you don't want to put binding on and you just want to try making yourself a little tea time treat mat, but you don't want all the embellishment on it, you don't want binding, and you can just do it like this. And this is just a nice little bit of picture fabric by Lewis and Irene from their range down by the river. They do quite a lot. They do actually quite a lot of nice border prints, they're called. And you can just fussy cut out a 6.5 inch bit for there. But there we go. So that was those. And the only other thing that I've made sewing wise is some cross stitch bags. These were supposed to be gifts for my friend Helen and my daughter for their birth. Well, their birthdays were both the first half of February. They're a day apart. And I thought I'm going to make both of them because they both cross stitch. I'll make them a wee bag. So here's a finished bag. Is that a partridge? Because this was, I actually made 3, and this is the first one that I made. Because I made the prototype was for myself. And then that way when things go wrong with it, you're not giving it to somebody. But there you go. And you can put your cross stitch in there. So 2 seconds. Remember that Christmas cross stitch that I was adamant I was going to be working on? And it was driving me round the bend. Well, I don't feel guilty now about putting it away because it's got a nice wee bag to go in. The thing is, I really, really want this done, but you tell yourself just to work in it for an hour a day, and when you'd rather clean bathrooms than work in cross stitch, you know there's a problem. And I would still love to make it, but I don't know whether just to give up with this linen and buy some, what is it? Is it Ada or Even Weave? I'm not very up to date with cross-stitching terminology and embroidery products, so my apologies if I'm offending anybody, but I can put that in there and keep it away safe till I finally get to working on it. But if you do know of any like gingerbready colourways, because I think this one was called gingerbread, if you do know of any nice Ada or Even Weave, something that would be easier for me to see. I think I'm getting too old, my eyesight's not very good. I would appreciate that if you could tell me where to buy some nice Ada and that kind of colourway there. But anyway, as I was making this, I thought that looks like a partridge, and it's probably no. And you're probably all going to be saying to me, Amanda, that's a whatever it is, because I'm not very good with birdies. But in my head, it made sense. I'm making a wee partridge bag for my Christmas cross stitch. I posted a photograph on Facebook one. I'd been in London and I was in St James's Park, and I posted photographs of the geese. But I had said, oh, these ducks are really big here. Look at the size of the ducks here. And somebody had to point out to me that they were geese. I'm terrible, so I am. So anyway, they go in there. But as I was making these, you can see this bit of the inside has been quilted. So it's 3 layers at the back. You'll see it through there actually. And I quilted the back piece, but I cut. So I've got the wee birdie, I've got my wadding, I've got my back piece, quilted it, but quilted it very close to the edge of the wadding. The back piece was much bigger, and in my head what I was going to do was then, once it was finished, fold the backing back, trim my wadding and the birdie piece, just to about the size of the bird, and then I was going to add an extra inch or so all the way around for the extra backing fabric that was on, and I was just going to fold it over and use it as my binding. Just thought that would be a great idea. It doesn't work like that. Because see, when you've only quilted just to the edge, you've got all these raw threads that hang out around the edge. So you fold it over and you've got your binding and you stitch it down and you think, yep, it's ready-made binding, it's all made in place. But you've got all these wee threads, so it didn't work. So then I thought, well, the other two, I'll just properly bind them. But I was running out of fabric, this navy blue fabric, because I only had 1/2 metre to make the 2 bags. So Helen's bag, it was very scant binding at the back, so it would fold over and have enough at the front. But hers is properly bound. And then my daughter's is the same. She's got a wee hedgehog in hers, but now there was another disaster with this one. This one was the last one that I made. I made mine's, then I made Helen's. They were all going at the same stage in a wee production line. But this was the final one in the production line. And I thought it was all going great and I had plenty of fabric to do my binding. And then I got it finished, and then the next day, I posted Helen's off the next day. And then I was on a Zoom meeting with the ladies that come to my classes. The ladies that I teach to patchwork and quilt. And I'm showing them what I made. And then I went like this to open it, and there was no zip on it. I chopped the zip off. The zip was still at this end here, and see when I trimmed my zip at either end, the zipper piece was still attached to the zip. So I couldn't even open the bag. It works now. I looked out the bit of zipper that I chopped off. I went through my scraps and found a bit of zipper, and I had to unpick my stitching and get it back on and re-sew it back up. Can't you believe, I mean, the number of years you've been sewing, and it's still the silliest wee mistakes that you make. And then it was after I made the three of them, my husband said to me, but do you know you've stitched your binding on, you've stitched your binding down, and you've got a nice stitch line down the back. That'll stop your quilted threads from unravelling, won't it? It kind of does, actually. I trimmed them all and they're not unravelling because I was so worried that all my quilt lines would start to unravel because they weren't right into the edge. Just these wee threads all. And then I tried to trim all those wee threads around the edge, and I cut a hole in the fabric at the edge. I'm telling you. The last time I was on here, I felt like I was being such an idiot because I kept making mistakes with my socks. And see, this past month, I can't sew anything with it making a mistake and having to unpick it. But there you go. That's the only other thing that I've been working on. But as you know, my daughter likes her hedgehogs, so she'll like that one for her cross stitch. And Helen gets squirrels on hers. I really like Helen's, actually. And the only other thing I'm going to show you is the tutorial that I'm going to do next for a wee online sewing tutorial for using up some scraps. And it's going to be this. It's just there'll be a wee bit of fabric in here, a wee square in there, and it's 2 squares. But I can put that, I'll do another wee pay hip download so you know exactly what you need. I wonder if I could get a Little Red Riding Hood in there, or maybe a wee wolf. I could do a Little Red Riding Hood one, couldn't I? Or I wonder if I can piece together another otter for the centre. It's really nice working through these bags of scraps that I've got and trying to think of wee things just to use them up. So that'll be the next tutorial, okay? I know it's not very exciting, but it'll be quite nice. You can take it outside on your wee tray with your tea time treat mat and your pincushion kid match. I've only got one more thing to show you in this section, and I didn't make it. Wait till you see this. This is a Neela Hoey fabric. This one's from the Posy range. It's wee bunny rabbits. And there's a wee PVC pocket in there. And then there's a big pocket in there. This was made by Aneela. Aneela's hands have touched this. I hope she didn't wash it before she sent it to me. No, she will only have, because there's PVC in it, she wouldn't have, wouldn't she know? She's actually has really touched it. She was having a sample sale of some of the bags that she's made as demos for her own patterns, because she makes a lot of sewing patterns in bags. So this is her book, Stitch Sewing Organisers. Yeah, to keep all your sewing goodies in. And there's loads of nice pouches and bags in here. See this one on the front here? I actually went to a workshop down in Oxfordshire I should say, to do this with Anila. And there's loads of nice wee pouches and bags. It's a really good book. So if you're interested in making your own pouches and bags, there's quite a lot in there. That one in the back, it's a boxy pouch with 2 wee pockets on the back, and there was a wee matching pincushion for that too. But that one on the cover, I'll show you that one. I don't know if I've shown you this before, have I? But this is Stay Gold fabric. The horses is called Stay Gold. That's Anila's fabric too. And then the inside, it looks like this. And I've actually got some hexagons in here, hexagon papers, and my templates are over here. There's another wee pouch here, a wee zipper bit here. And then you've got the wee felt needle book, some pockets down here. And there's also a wee pincushion there. But there's really, really nice patterns in that book. It's worth having a wee look at. Even if you come across it on Amazon, it's worth having a wee nosy through it, if they let you look inside the book. Do you know, I think I've done about half the projects in here. There was a sew along a couple of years ago, and I think I got about halfway through and I stopped. I could probably do a little vlog extra, just showing you all the things from this book. See if I can find something. There's a wee pincushion. And I made most of mine with, oops, the pattern, the bit's falling out. I made most of mine with Anila fabrics as well. There's a little page of small things. There's pin cushions, and you can make little tape measure covers. Oop. There's cases and folios as well. That's a bigger case there for making. Big fold over. It's 2 vinyl pouches in the inside. And then there's this one here to it. So it's worth a wee look at. It's a really good book. And you know I love Anila, but it is a good book. Right. And I think that's all I've got to share with you just now, but I've got another couple of things that are really bringing me joy just now that I wanted to show you, okay? So I'm just going to go grab them. Right, I've just got a couple more things I want to share with you before I go. And I wanted to show you my wee plant. Isn't she pretty? She's all facing the one side actually. She's been stretching for the light. I've got one of these in, this is an Oxalis triangularis, but I've got the wee purple version. But I bought that as a plant. This one I bought bulbs on eBay and grew it myself. I've actually got it in a wee propagation station. One of those wee things you get in IKEA, it's like 2 levels, and it's got wee lights. My husband bought it for growing seeds, but I've kind of pinched it. Some of my house plants are wintering in there just now because we don't get a lot of light in the house here. But she's really nice, isn't she? And all the wee leaves close up at night time, and the wee flowers as well close at night, and then she wakes back up in the morning. But I'm really, really chuffed with that because I planted the bulbs and grew it myself. Yeah, I know, the plant did all the work and I did nothing. I just provided light and water. Right, I'm just going to sit her here because she's so pretty, right? Anyway, the other thing that I've really been enjoying recently is trying to cook. I can't cook, I can't garden, I can't grow things, and I can't cook. But last year I bought myself a couple of cookbooks, and one of the first ones that I bought was this one here. It's Gino D'Acampo. And the reason I bought this one was because I wanted to learn how to, it was more Italian cooking I wanted to learn. And I wanted to learn how to make like carbonaras, lasagnas, spaghetti bolognese, ragu sauce. And I thought, well, the best person to teach you how to do Italian cooking would be an Italian, wouldn't it? And the other thing that was the clincher for this book, as well as having all your traditional Italian dishes, it has, can I find this? A pizza with an egg on top. I'm one of these people that if you put an egg on top of something, I just love it. So that was a clincher for me. And it's got spinach in it too. So This is actually on his website. It's Fiorentina, the pizza, and it's mozzarella, spinach, egg and parmesan. So it's healthy because it's got lots of green in it too. And that one's quite good too. That's on his website. If you actually go to Gino's website, he lists all his books and he's got some recipes from each of the books, but that one's on, that's sausages and green lentils. That's quite good too. Really like that one. But that was one of the first ones that I bought. So I've been back online and I bought another few of his books. It was on eBay I bought this. I got it second hand, but really like that book. And then I bought another one. I bought quite a few cookbooks recently. I like Levi Roots as well. Really like his stuff. He's got a Caribbean shepherd's pie that is delicious. But it uses 750 grams, I think, of lamb mince. Oh, I don't have any special dietary requirements, by the way, so if I'm showing you anything and you like it, I don't have to cut anything out of my diet. I should probably cut quite a few calories out of my diet, but I don't have any special dietary requirements. But see this one here? This is lovely. So see if you make Levi's Caribbean one, the Caribbean shepherd's pie, it uses 750 grams of lamb mince. So you have to usually buy 2 packs because you can't get you can in the supermarket. So you buy 250 grams. So see the 250 that's left? You put it into that pasta there and it's lamb and rosemary pasta. That is lovely. Sweet onions, rosemary and minced lamb. It's really nice. That's one of my favourites out of that book. And the most recent one I bought was this one. It's a diet book, but the meals in it are lovely. We had this one for dinner last night. Just risotto, but it's artichokes and butternut squash. And the good thing about all these books is I've been able to cook from them. My husband usually does most of the cooking, so I don't have to cook. But when he's busy, you don't want to be eating rubbish all the time. That one was really good. Neapolitan pasta with a 3-bean sauce. That was great. It's only a tiny wee picture, but it says on it that it's from a poor village and it's poor people that make this. It's lovely. Roman pasta, classic Roman pasta. That was good as well. We've been eating a lot for this book over the past week because this is my newest book. Oh, and I made these, the twice baked biscuits with pistachios through them. They're lovely. They're nice with on your wee tea time treat mat with your coffee. They're lovely. The frittata, we've had the frittata out of there as well, but I really like that one. Another thing is, see if this one actually came with a guide on the inside as well. If you want to try and stick to 1500 calories a day, what you should make from this book for breakfast, lunch and dinner, you don't even have to think about it. Or if you're on a 2000 calorie plan, it gives you your meals for a week, breakfast, lunch and dinner, so you don't even have to think about it. Because that's one of the rotten things about being a grown-up, isn't it? Having to think about what to have for dinner every day for the rest of your life. And especially when you can't cook. The hardships. Anyway, really like them. I'll link to these books below, but he does have, his books are on his website, and he does have some recipes, so you could get the recipes off the website and try a couple out if you wanted before you buy a book. And the only other thing that's bringing me joy now is Nigella. I've just discovered Nigella. Isn't she awesome? Oh, wonderful. But the one out of this book that I made was the banana bread. This is on our website as well, so I'm going to link to that because you need to make this banana bread. I've made loads of banana breads, but this one, it doesn't look that great. But I have a slice of this in the afternoon. It's in the freezer and I take out 1 slice a day, and that's my treat for the day, a slice of this banana bread. It's got rum in it as well. I don't know if you can leave the rum out. It's got 75 mils of rum, or you can put bourbon in it. But I don't know how that works if you leave some of the fluid out when you're baking, so I can't tell you whether you can leave it out or not, because I don't have a clue. But it's lovely, so go try that. But it's on our website. I'm going to link to that for you. Invite your friends round, make them a tea time treat mat, and make them some of Nigella's banana bread. Anyway, I think I've gibbered on enough at you today, haven't I? So, if you're in the UK, I hope you're enjoying these and the restrictions. I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world. Anyway, take care of yourself, stay safe, and I will see you all in a month. Bye.